Okay, welcome back to Bald and Board Games. I'm Bald. Board is away. So I have been doing a rulebook rundown on every piece of Mythwind. We just got the all-in Kickstarter in last week. So we did an unboxing, Bombastic and I, which was a lot of fun. I went through, punched pieces out, organized a bit, did all the oohs and ahs. And so then I've been digging into every single rulebook that this comes with. So there's the town charter book, which is the main rule book for how the town works and everything. And then each character has their own little rule book that tells you how they work individually. So we did the farmer, then we did the crafter, then we did the ranger, then we did the merchant. And now we're going to be digging into the expanded Horizons, which includes a fifth character, making this game playable for up to 5 people. And this is going to be on the Innkeeper. We are going to be doing a rulebook rundown, or I am, on the little micro expansions that are in here as well, and the friends and family. But I'll have those in separate videos that you'll be able to find. So for now, we're going to be doing the Innkeeper. We have the Expanded Horizons thing here as well to read through. Let me take her out. There's a bunch of cards on the bottom here, so I'll go over that in a moment. Let me put this off to the side up here. We'll have her. And here we are. Okay. So we have the Innkeeper. But let's start with the little Expanded Horizons booklet here. Ever since you first arrived in the valley, there have been hints of past people living here. Reminders that reveal themselves on a daily basis. Foundations from old buildings. Bits of old leather in the forest, rusted tools that have been buried by time. Who was here? And where did they go? Some villagers have sworn that they've seen someone in the hills. The sprites know more than they let on, but won't share their story. Maybe there are more answers out there waiting to be found. The Expanded Horizons adds a 5th player option for Mythwind through a new character, the Innkeeper. Focuses on bringing many patrons to her establishment to feed and entertain day after day. In addition to new adventures, the goal to work through a unique story with some history in the valley is provided that seamlessly integrates with the event deck. 5 new buildings can now be constructed, providing a new type of action to benefit players as they expand their town. Okay, so some components list here: Hermit, Moses tokens. So the setup. The Expanded Horizons has been created to seamlessly integrate into Mythwind's core box. Follow instructions below to set up Expanded Horizons. So the event and adventure cards that are in the box. So after opening secret envelope number 1, which we have not done yet, so number 1 still sealed. Once that is opened, take event card EH1 from its box and adventure card EH1 and shuffle those cards into their respective decks. Do not open the secret envelope until prompted. So then goal cards, so shuffle goal cards EH1 and EH5 into the goal deck. So when you decide to incorporate this into the larger game, you can just shuffle those goal cards into that deck. You have the worker dice, which you've already added those into the main set. So it's just 4 extra dice, I believe. 2 sprites and 2 village dice, yep. Then you have some new buildings. So there's several new buildings in the Expanded Horizon expansions. Follow all the prerequisites rules from the town charter. So just make sure that all applies. Those are actually in here as well. Take those out right here. So these are the new towns or new buildings. So those we can even just add in if we want. I don't think we need to wait. Just pop those in now. Oop, where are we at? Right over here. There's the pile. Boom. Those were good. The goals I'm not adding in yet because the setup for the initial campaign told you just to use specific goals. It said just to use goals numbered 1 through 10, I believe. So I am not shuffling in the Expanded Horizon ones quite yet. I want to get a playthrough in and then see if there would be a reason to shuffle the larger deck if we do end up doing that, then adding goals into this one here. All right, so unique gameplay mechanics. There are several gameplay mechanics introduced in the Expanded Horizons expansion. So there's a 5th player. Players can now use the Innkeeper as a 5th player for Mythwind. Follow all rules for 3 or more players from the core box with 5th player. There is the Hermit. So let me get these little tokens out here. So there's the Hermit. Now, the Hermit or Moses tokens is on a building that is removed or covered up for any reason. Move the token to the next sequential town space with a building action. So then these will just move. Removed or covered for any reason. Well, if the Hermit or Moses token is on a building, okay, that is removed or covered up, it moves to the next sequential town space. So 1 to 2 to 3 to 4 to 5, so on and so forth on the actual map. So you just have this Hermit and Moses just moving around. No idea why, but cool. And then trigger building effect. So Expanded Horizon introduces a new lightning bolt building effect. These buildings activate after specific actions have been taken. So looks like here the bank has a trigger building effect. When you take the construct or demolish town action, you will also increase 2 villagers at that tower. Interesting. So this happens right away. So whenever you construct, oh, it's not even an action. It's just once you have that built, if you do that other action, that'll immediately affect if that's in your town. So, very cool. I like. But that is it. So then for the buildings, you have the bank, cotton mill, farmer's market, stables, textile factory. Cool. All right. So let's put that over here out of the way. And let's get into the Innkeeper. Are we looking there? Looks good. All right. So the Innkeeper I kind of have set up already here from the unboxing portion of her. We have her reference card, just like all the other ones. Put that off to the side. All right. Innkeeper. Day 12. My friends back home told me this was a crazy idea. Move to a town that isn't on a trade route and an open inn? Who's going to come? Fortunately, people need a place to stay while they build their homes. They come here for food and drink, and once word get out about the beautiful it is here, I'm no doubt that there'll be more visitors. The Innkeeper's goal is to host guests and ensure everyone has a great stay at the inn. The Innkeeper spends their day organizing the inn and managing the various accommodations to create a satisfying evening for all the guests and the profitable evening for the inn. After each successful night of hosting guests, the Innkeeper's renown grows, bringing even more guests to the inn in the coming days. So the complexity for the Innkeeper is a 2. So we have a 1, we have a 2 now, we have 2 3s, and a 4. There is another expansion that's coming with a shepherd and an herbalist. I'm hoping that one of those is a complexity of 5, just to have that range. That'll be a lot of fun. So the key concept for the Innkeeper. At the beginning of each day, guests are drawn from a bag randomly. And it's the Innkeeper's responsibility to ensure that all of these guest requests are fulfilled. The more satisfied guests, the more coins gained. Renown. There are 3 levels of renown for the Innkeeper. The higher the renown, the more guests will be attracted to the inn. Mingle. The Innkeeper can read the pulse of the townsfolk, utilizing their social skills to provide bonuses for the entire community. All right, and there we have Boyd's favorite, the components page with everything. The setup. Insert the 2 Innkeeper boards and the Innkeeper header into the tray as depicted. Doop, doop, doop. Take the Innkeeper miniature, so the 10 coins. Oh, where is her miniature? Here she is. My bad. Come here, my lady. There she is. And there's the header. Remove this. Okay. So 10 coins. Which do I have down here ready for her? I do. Good. Have her coins. Boom. The 10 Innkeeper skills placed near the tray, and we're going to organize it just like everybody else's. So here we have the skills. These are going to be organized from 1, 2s, and 3s. So there's going to be most likely 4 1s again, 3 2s, and 3 3s. Okay. Set the renown track. Place a renown token in the leftmost slot of the renown track. So we do have a renown token. I'm going to use this primarily for saving. So I'm going to use the renown little dowel thing that I have that came with this nice all-in copy. And we're putting in the leftmost slot. So right there. Prepare the guest tokens. So separate the guest tokens into 3 piles according to their level. Then place all 12 of the level 1 guest tokens into the draw bag. So we do have a draw bag over here. So she has an orange draw bag. And we have 3 different levels of guests. So let me separate all these into their respective levels. So 3, 2, 2, 3. Nice. A 1, a 2, a 1, a 3, a 1, and a 3. Come here, friends. 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 3. Almost there. Last little pile here. Dropping them again. 1, 2, 1, 1, 2. All right, so should have 12 of these instead. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Those all go into the draw bag. Okay. Great supply. Shuffle the deck of gossip cards over. Then I guess we're putting 3s and 4s off to the side for now, or 2s and 3s off to the side for the guests. So we'll do that. Okay. Shuffle the deck of gossip cards and place it at the supply along with level 2 and 3 guest tokens of all accommodations and all accommodation tokens. So you can set them off to the side, it looks like. And so we do have gossip cards here. The events we're not going to worry about right now. So we have all these gossip cards. Okay. So to shuffle these, I think. Shuffle them, yep. Gossip. Okay, we'll put those over here. That's fine. As well as accommodation tokens. We have down here as well. So all of these accommodations. Fireworks. More music. Okay. Got it. Place a table, window, and door in the inn. The table can be placed anywhere. The door and window must be placed on the outer slot. So we have to put a window down somewhere. Table can go anywhere. Middle of the room, why not? And the door. Door up here in the corner? Sure. Okay. Draw 2 gossip cards to create the Innkeeper's hand. Okay. Our hand. Okay. I guess that's where we're starting. So basic concepts. The inn. The inn is the innkeeper's pride and joy. They spend their day purchasing and rearranging the inn's accommodations in an effort to satisfy their guests and gain renown. The inn is represented by 25 slots on the inn's character tray. Throughout the game, these slots will be filled with guests and accommodations. The 16 slots around the edge of the inn are outer slots. Certain accommodations, which are described later, can only be placed in these outer slots. Accommodations. Accommodations are tokens that represent the furniture and services that the innkeeper can purchase to improve the inn. and satisfy guests. Some accommodations can be damaged and require upkeep. Damaged accommodations are described later. There are 5 types of furniture and 6 types of services as follows. So there's a window, door, table, bar, and fireplace. A window, door, table, bar, fireplace for the furniture. Then there is a kitchen, drink, food, stage, music, and play. If 2 accommodations in the inn occupy slots that are next to each other, those accommodations are adjacent. Accommodations that are diagonal from one another are not adjacent. Okay? So guests are tokens that represent the visitors and townsfolk of Mythwind Valley, who are seeking an evening of comfort and entertainment. Each guest has a front and back. A guest's front is indicated by its level. Okay, so all of these here. So the front shows level 2, and then this is the back that shows nothing. Okay. When the innkeeper places a guest in the inn, the token is inserted into the top portion of an inn slot where they will remain upright. Any guests placed in the inn are seated. A guest that is seated with its front facing you is front facing. A guest that is seated with its front facing you is front facing. Okay. Get to the top portion again. Any guest placed in the inn are seated. Okay. A guest that is seated when it's front facing you is front facing. Okay. So what it's saying is when a guest gets put in, they're always seated. And so it's always with their front, which is with the 2 facing you. That means they're seated. I guess if their back is facing you, there's some other thing that's happening. Seated at the table. Seated at the window. Fun. Okay. A guest seated with its back facing you is back facing. Makes sense. The rules and distinctions for the facing are described later. Okay. Guest satisfaction. The goal of the innkeeper is to satisfy their guests by providing them with the accommodations they request. The front side of each guest token shows all the guest requests, and the back side shows all the guest complaints. During dusk, the innkeeper tries to satisfy as many guests as possible. Complaints from unsatisfied guests can cause negative effects for the innkeeper, which are described later. To satisfy a guest, the innkeeper must fulfill all the guest requests. There are 3 kinds of requests as follows. There are furniture requests. If a guest has a furniture request, they must be seated in a slot in the inn that contains the type of furniture that matches the request. So let's see, can we get some here? Let's see here. Furniture request. Okay. So like this person wants to be seated at the door. Okay, so each furniture request accommodation request one time. Each furniture accommodation can fulfill the request of one guest at a time. Got it. Okay. So like this guest would want to sit at the door. Like that. Boom. Okay. There is a service request. Okay. So if a guest has a service request, the inn must have a slot that contains that type of service. A guest does not have to be seated in the same slot as the service for their request to be fulfilled. Okay. So this person here wants, what even is that? I don't have that. Should be a play, I guess. Stage? Where's the stage? Ruh-roh. Why don't I see this? Oh, because there's a bunch up here. My lord. I was like, what? Hey, I'm dumb. That's hilarious. I didn't realize these were up here. I was like, why is there not as many as I thought? I thought I accidentally threw something away. Worried for a minute. There's the stage. Okay. So for the dude I was just holding, this person, they want to be seated at a window, but they want there to be a stage somewhere in here. So provided that they are at the window. That's good. And there's a stage here that works as well. Single service token can fulfill the request. Perfect. If there are 3 guests seated at the inn and all of them request a kitchen, a single kitchen token fulfills that request for all 3 guests. So as long as this token's here, anyone who wants, like this one also wants a stage. Here you can see. So that would fulfill all of theirs. The fact that there is some sort of stage in here. Style requirement. Some accommodations and requests have a style icon attached to them. There are 3 types of styles. There's culture, imperial, and frontier. If the inn ever has 2 or more undamaged accommodations of a particular style, the inn has that style. When an inn has embraced a style, a guest request for that style can be fulfilled by placing them either adjacent or diagonal to an accommodation with that style. The inn can embrace multiple styles. So as you can see here on the bottom, we have imperial, and here we have imperial. So there's at least 2, which means we have that style, which means if somebody wanted the imperial style, which I don't know if any level 1s do. The level 1s don't. Here we go. This level 3 wants an imperial style. So as long as they're adjacent or diagonal to that style, then they're good. Okay. Renown. Renown represents the inn's reputation among its patrons. As the innkeeper gains renown, the inn will attract more guests, allowing the innkeeper to increase their profits if they're able to provide those guests with the appropriate accommodations. The innkeeper's renown is tracked on their character tray. The innkeeper begins the game with a renown as far left as it can go. So level 1. To increase or decrease renown, simply move the renown token along the track. The appropriate innkeeper, or as appropriate, the innkeeper cannot decrease their renown. The token is in the leftmost space. Right. So increasing is this way, decreasing that way. Day phase. Each game of Mythwind is a day that each round of Mythwind is a day that consists of 3 phases: dawn, daytime, and dusk. To resolve each phase, characters perform a number of steps. The primary steps of each phase are resolved by all characters as a group, and the rules for these steps are described in detail throughout the town charter. In addition to a phase's primary steps, each character has their own unique steps to resolve. These steps are spread throughout the day. Throughout 3 day phases are different for each character. The rules for the innkeepers we're going to go over right now. So here below you can see for the dawn phase, these top 3 that have the blue icon mean that everyone does them. It's part of the town charter. My goodness, which we've gone over in that rulebook rundown already. But then additionally, they have the party preparations and welcome guest phase in the dawn. For daytime, the town actions everyone has as well, and then they perform the character actions and the worker actions. That's very consistent with everyone for the daytime phase. And then for the dusk phase, the same character return workers, but they also host guests. Okay, let me remove all of these here. Let's set the example ones. Let's get these out. Back to how we started. I'll put all these back in the draw bag so we can learn how to play as the innkeeper. Drink of water. Over. Here's just some helpful info in the back of that. Here we go. Okay. And we're off. So, for the dawn, the unique portions of the dawn phase for the innkeeper. Party preparations. During this step, the innkeeper's fame spreads throughout the valley and the value of their party is increased. If the day's current weather card has an event icon, the innkeeper takes 1 coin from the supply and places it next to the party action on their character board to track the value of their party. The innkeeper can only increase the value of the party if the value is less than their current renown level. For example, if the innkeeper has a renown level of 1 and they have 1 coin already next to the party action, they cannot gain another coin. So the day's current weather card has an event icon. So the event icons again are the brown books. Okay, so if it has that, the innkeeper takes 1 coin from the supply and places it next to the party action on their character board to track the value of the party. Okay, right there. Party action. The innkeeper can only increase the value of their party if the value is less than their current renown level. For example, if the innkeeper is renown level of 1 and they have 1 coin already next to the party action, they cannot gain another. Okay, so this has to be at 2 for us to be able to add another coin there. Got it. Cool, got it. Okay, welcome guests. During dawn, the innkeeper welcomes guests into their inn. The number of guests that visit each day is determined by the renown level and the current weather. To welcome guests, the innkeeper draws a number of guest tokens from the draw bag equal to their current renown. So right now, it's at 1. Okay. Where is it? Current renown, modified by the current weather as follows. So sunny is -1, cloudy is 0, rain is +1. If the weather is the same for 2 or more consecutive days, the number of guests and modifies for each of those consecutive days. What? If the weather is the same for 2 or more consecutive days, the number of guests is modified for each of those consecutive days. For example, the innkeeper's renown level is 1, and the current day, as well as the previous day, was rainy. The innkeeper would welcome 8 guests, so 6 + 1 + 1. The innkeeper may not welcome more guests than there are tokens in the draw bag. The guests that the innkeeper draws are placed front-facing near their character tray. Do not flip them over. Before the end of the day, the innkeeper will attempt to seat as many of the guests in the inn as possible. Okay, so right now, so we have the rainy card out. It is 6, so we would draw 7 of these guests. So we have 1, and then we replace them near our character tray. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 5, 6, and 7. So these are all of our guests that are coming in that we're gonna have to try and accommodate and sit where they would prefer. Okay. So during the daytime, the innkeeper performs the character actions, which include operate and resolve skill, followed by any number of worker actions. The innkeeper's unique character described below. So operate. The character actions allow the innkeeper to operate the inn, including purchasing accommodations and serving their guests. So it's all these here. The innkeeper begins by selecting one of the 5 actions displayed on the character thing. So here, you can only select the actions according to your alignment. So during the town action phase, you will choose an action on the town, which will determine your alignment, either sprite or villager, and that will determine which you can choose. There are 3 to choose from sprite because it's in the middle, and 3 to choose from villager. Easy peasy, just like everybody else. All right, so the action types the innkeeper selects must match alignment, just to that. So these are the action types. So there's pamper, improve, serve, mingle, and party. So pamper. The pamper action allows the innkeeper to seat a picky guest who has requested that they are difficult to fulfill. Who has requests that are difficult to fulfill. The innkeeper can use this action to seat the guest, ignoring all of their requests. This extra effort does not satisfy the guest, but it does prevent them from being unsatisfied. To perform the pamper action, the innkeeper chooses one of the guests from those that were drawn. Then they take that guest and seat them back-facing in any slot in the inn that contains a furniture token. The innkeeper can ignore all the guest requests, gain 1 coin for seating the guest, then reduce renown by 1 if able. So if we had a particular difficult guest, for whatever reason, we would take them and put them at backwards facing. So that was showing at any kind of furniture location. Renown would go down by 1, but I would still get 1 coin. Okay. Improve. The improve action allows the innkeeper to purchase an accommodation and add it to the inn. Move an already purchased accommodation to a new location, sell unwanted accommodations, or repair damaged accommodations. When performing the improve action, the innkeeper can do any combination of the purchase, move, or sell actions, limited to 1 of each. Okay, so purchase. To purchase, the innkeeper takes from the supply any 1 accommodation token for which they fulfill the renown level requirement, pay its cost, and then place it in the inn. The cost of each accommodation is shown on the back of its token. After purchasing the accommodation, the innkeeper places it in any empty slot in the inn. The following accommodations have additional placement restrictions. So doors and windows must be placed in the outer slot. Drinks and food must be placed in a slot adjacent to a kitchen. Music and plays, these must be placed in a slot adjacent to a stage. All other accommodations can be placed in any empty slot in the inn. Okay, so let's see here. So it does show, so for play on the backside here, it does show the stage as a reminder. So these should probably be sorted into their different levels. 2 and 2. So all the level 2s, no, they don't cost. Okay, so that's level 2. That's level 2. 2 and 2. So your renown has to be at least that or greater to be able to place all of these down. So these are unavailable until my renown levels up. Okay. And these are all of our level 1s. A few fireplaces. Kitchen, playhouse, some tables, another door, and another window. Everything else is an addition off of those. And I think everything else has, yeah. So all the level 2s, you can tell from the front, they all have a red symbol on them. So it's a style. So all the ones that have any kind of style to them are a level 2 accommodation. So that's an easy way to tell from the front which ones are level 2s. And then from there on the back, it tells you the price and the prerequisite that it just went over. Okay. Move. So for improving, you can sell. So you can purchase, yada yada. So purchasing for like, if I want to purchase a door, it would cost 10, and I would have to put it on the outside somewhere. To move. This option allows the innkeeper to move 1 accommodation. To move an accommodation, the innkeeper takes any accommodation in the inn and move it to any empty space. Obeying all the placement restrictions as normal, the innkeeper cannot move an accommodation if there is a guest seated at that slot. So, makes sense? Can't move a table if someone's seated there. Sell. This option allows the innkeeper to sell 1 accommodation from the inn. When selling an accommodation, the innkeeper removes it from the inn and places it back in the supply. Then they gain a number of coins equal to half the cost, rounded down. Accommodations used to fulfill placement restrictions. Accommodations used to fulfill placement restrictions cannot be sold. Used to fill placement restrictions. Oh, okay. So like, if we had a playhouse out here, and there was music next to it, we can't sell the playhouse, but we can sell the music hall. And when you sell, it's half right now, so that 12 would be 6. Got it. Repair. This option allows the innkeeper to repair any number of damaged accommodations, so you can they can be used by guests to avoid discarding them at the end of the season. See accommodation damage on page 30. Okay. To repair damaged accommodations, spend coins equal to half the price of the accommodation rounded up. Then flip the accommodation face up. It can now be used to accommodate guests. So it looks like when things get damaged, you'll probably take these and flip them over. Serve. So that is the third one down. The serve action allows the innkeeper to provide guests with certain accommodations without adding them to the inn. To serve, the innkeeper takes a gossip card from their hand and places it face up near the inn. Each gossip card contains accommodations printed on the bottom of the card, as well as some text that is ignored during this action. Okay, so down here, and we're ignoring the text, I guess, but this right now is focusing on the bottom. The accommodations on the face-up gossip card are treated as if they are part of the inn. As such, they can be used to fulfill guest requests during dusk. Any style icon on the gossip card count towards helping and embrace that style. The gossip card is discarded at the end of the day and shuffled back into the gossip card deck. Mingle. Bottom one. The mingle action allows the innkeeper to schmooze and network with their guests, planting seeds of grandeur that may bear fruit in the future. To mingle, the innkeeper takes one of their gossip cards from their hand, if able, and shuffles it into the adventure deck. Ah, interesting. Then the innkeeper draws a number of gossip cards equal to their current renown level. If the gossip card deck is depleted, the innkeeper cannot draw any more gossip cards. So these will be shuffled into this adventure deck. Cool. Then the innkeeper draws a number of gossip. Okay, did that. During the future actions, when a gossip card is drawn from the adventure deck, the character who draws it resolves its text and its effect icon. The accommodations at the bottom of the card are ignored. Then they place the card face down at the bottom of the gossip card deck. So here, if we drew Famous Gladiator, we would re-roll all villagers and sprites in the tower, which is this section here. Each player may re-roll one of their villagers or sprites. I just realized I think I kept those dice in the old one. I did. It's fun. What's it say? Each player may re-roll one of their villagers or sprites. And then cool. And then it says reveal the next adventure card. Fun. So we need some of these guys over here. Get two of these out. Make sure we have something in the tower to use as an example. Here we go. Okay. Party. The party action allows the innkeeper to enhance the benefit of a specific type of accommodation at the cost of renown. To party, the innkeeper reduces their renown by 2 and places the party token on one furniture accommodation. They got it in here. Yep. Go. One accommodation in the inn to signify which accommodation has been enhanced. Okay, so party. When seating guests during the dusk phase, each guest seated on a furniture type marked by the party token, even if they are not satisfied, generates 1 additional coin for each coin placed on the party action of the innkeeper board. Okay. So it says when seated guests generates 1 additional coin for each coin placed in the party action of the innkeeper board. Okay. So if there's 1 here, it's going to be 2. Total we're going to get, there's 2 here. They would generate 2 more, so we get 4. Essentially doubles it. Nice. After all guests have generated coins, if the innkeeper's renown level is equal to or greater than the number of coins next to the party action, all of these coins are discarded from the innkeeper's board and placed in the supply. What? Oh. When seating guests during the dusk phase, each guest seated in the furniture marked party token generates 1 additional coin for each coin placed on the party action space. So if there's 2 there, that means they're going to generate 2 additional coins. Okay. After all guests have generated coins, if the innkeeper's renown level is equal to or greater than the number of coins next to the party action, All these coins are discarded from the Innkeeper's board and placed in the supply. The party action cannot be performed if renown is in the 2 leftmost slots on the renown track. So these 2. Okay. After all guests have generated coins, okay. If the Innkeeper's renown level is equal or greater than the number of coins next to the party action, all of these coins are discarded from the Innkeeper board and placed in the slot. So it must be these here. So if it's equal to or greater to these, those are all discarded. So the Innkeeper has 2 coins next to the party. Party token marks additional coins if they seat 3 guests at tables. Oh, so it's just any type of combination like that. Yeah, on the first. Okay. Interesting. Resolve skills. So this character action allows the Innkeeper to resolve a skill that is in the same row as the action that has the resolved character. So like everyone else, so when you have a skill you perform or an action, you can resolve the skill in the same row right here afterwards if you so choose. Worker actions function the same as well. If you have any kind of dice in your dice well, so you had this sprite 3, you reduce it by 1 down to 2, and you would place it into one of the sprite actions, so blue for blue, orange for orange, to perform that action again as a worker action. And you can do that for as many dice as you have, as long as they have slots to go into. Cool. Okay. So the Innkeeper's unique steps for Dusk are described in this section. So during Dusk, you will host guests. When dusk arrives, the inn opens its doors. The Innkeeper invites in all of its guests for a relaxing evening filled with food, drink, and entertainment. Hopefully, the Innkeeper's efforts throughout the day has prepared them for a busy night. During this step, the Innkeeper seats all of its guests whose requirements can be fulfilled, gaining or losing both coins and renown, depending on the success of the evening. Then, after the entire process is complete, the Innkeeper places all the guests back into the draw bag. To host, perform the following steps in order. Puppies?
More distracting than being here or them scratching?
Probably them being in here if they start to fuss.
I'll leave the door open. I'll have the TV on and do the dishes.
Okay, sounds good.
And go in the door.
Sure. Seat guests. To seat guests, the Innkeeper seats any of the guests that were drawn from the bag into an in slot, obeying the following rules. A guest can only be seated if doing so satisfies them. All the guest requests must be fulfilled. Seated guests must be placed in empty slots with a matching furniture request. Okay. Seated guests are placed so they are front-facing. After seating all the guests they wish to, the Innkeeper gains 1 coin for each front-facing guest in the inn. Guests seated on an accommodation type enhanced by the party token generate 1 additional coin for each coin on the Innkeeper's character board. Finally, remove the party token from the accommodation. Okay, this again. So guests can only be seated if doing so satisfies them. So this person, there has to be a playhouse here, and it has to be seated at a window. Satisfied. Okay. This one has to be seated at a table, and it has to be a playhouse, right? So if you were here. Okay. So you're satisfied. This one would have to be seated at a door, and there has to be a kitchen. There is no kitchen, so you can't be seated. This one can be seated at the door. The rest cannot be seated. Okay. So then we would gain 1, I would gain 2 and 1. Then we would remove the party thing, which we'll put right there for now. Okay. So I would gain 1, 2, 3, 4. Resolve complaints. To resolve complaints, the innkeeper ensures that all the unsatisfied, unseated guests that were drawn from the bag have their backs face up. Okay. To resolve complaints, the innkeeper ensures that all the unsatisfied, so unseated guests who were drawn from the bag, their backs face up. Then the innkeeper resolves the complaints shown on each of those guests one at a time. The complaints icon will include the innkeeper, will indicate the innkeeper should lose a number of coins, lose the type of accommodation shown disregarding the accommodation style, or draw an additional guest. Ignore complaints that cannot be resolved. The innkeeper has the opportunity to seat drawn guests, gaining the benefits of doing so. If they are unable to seat the newly drawn guests, resolve their complaints, if any. So here I have to draw a guest. They have nothing. So this one, I cannot sit at a table. So I would have to deal with their complaint, which is nothing. So we're good. Okay. Any coins or accommodations that the innkeeper loses are placed into the supply. If a guest is in a slot with an accommodation that is destroyed, that guest is unseated and placed next to the other unsatisfied guest, but the innkeeper does not resolve that guest's complaints. So if I had to flip over this table because it was damaged, right? Or it should have destroyed, I guess. Any coins or accommodations the innkeeper loses are placed in the supply. Okay. So then you become unsatisfied, but I don't have to deal with your stuff. Then you determine guest satisfaction. To determine guest satisfaction, the innkeeper counts the number of seated guests, front and back facing, as well as any number of unseated guests. Then they resolve one of the following. Okay, so this was not destroyed. I don't have any destroyed it. I was looking at an example. Let's do that. The number of seated guests is greater than the number of unseated guests. The innkeeper increases renown by 1. It's not. The number of unseated guests is equal to or greater than the number of seated guests. The innkeeper decreases renown by 1. Or lowest. The innkeeper can only increase to renown level 3 if the inn has embraced at least one style. Okay, shows there. Good. Remove all guests from the inn and place them back in the drawn bag. Okay, so we generate the coin before, like, so when we seat them. Yeah, so we get the coin for seating them before the remove. Okay, that's good. So then we remove all of them, including these, and we place them back into the draw bag. So essentially, as you're building up your tavern or your inn, you're accommodating all these guests. And I'm assuming when you get to level 2, you'll probably add the next level up, and so on and so forth. So how do you add more guests, I wonder? When does that even happen? Hotel aspect. Yep. Okay. So then end of season summary. So it's the same as everyone else's. So you have all those normal phases and you have your character upkeep before potentially changing characters. So for character upkeep, during the character's upkeep, they resolve accommodation damage, update the draw bag according to their renown, and discard any coins next to the party action. So essentially, you're going to be working with all of these guys for an entire season. And then it'll update at the end of the season. Accommodation damage. During this step, the accommodations of the inn suffer some wear and tear and become damaged. The innkeeper must repair them before the end of the next season, or else the accommodations will be lost. When an accommodation is damaged, the innkeeper flips it so it's face down in the inn. A damaged item cannot be used until it's repaired. To resolve the accommodation step, the innkeeper performs the following steps in order. Discard damaged accommodations. So the innkeeper discards all damaged accommodations at the inn, returning them to the supply. Discard accommodations can be repurchased as normal. Damaged accommodations. The Innkeeper chooses one accommodation at the end to damage, flipping it face down. If there are no accommodations at the end, the Innkeeper skips a step. Damage additional accommodations. The Innkeeper damages an additional number of accommodations according to their renown. So level 1, no additional accommodation damage. Level 2, roll 1 villager die from the tower. Damage 1 accommodation in the inn, if able, for each pip shown on the die result. Jesus. So you could end up damaging up to 3. That's crazy. Then place the die back in the tower supply as appropriate, preserving the result. If the roll produced a blank result, do not damage any accommodations, but re-roll blank results as normal to place back in the tower. Level 3, roll 1 villager die and 1 sprite die from the tower. Damage 1 furniture accommodation in the inn, if able, for each pip shown on the villager, and damage 1 service accommodation, if available, for each pip shown on the sprite die. Then, place each die back in the tower or supply as appropriate, preserving the result. If any roll produced a blank result, you don't damage any, but you have to reroll, put it back on there. Updating the draw bag. To update the draw bag, the Innkeeper removes all the guest tokens and places them into the supply. Then they add new guests from the supply according to their renown level. So renown level 1, so 12 level 1 guests. And renown level 2, you have your 12 level 1 plus 9 level 2 guests. If you are renown level 3, you have 9 level 2 guests plus 9 level 3 guests. All other guest tokens are placed in the supply. Okay. So in level 2, so level 1 you have 12, level 2 you have a total of 21, and level 3 you have a total of 18. Discard party action coins. So the Innkeeper discards any coins that were placed on the party action of the character board during the party preparation step. Then he goes over the individual skills you can read if you want to know more. Then we have saving the game. All right. So save the Innkeeper. Return the Innkeeper miniature to the and draw bag to the box. So Innkeeper. We will empty out the draw bag. Boom. That'll get returned to the box. Ooh, yep, puppy. Remove the Innkeeper header from the tray. Innkeeper. Boom. Place all the Innkeeper's coins, guest tokens, accommodations, party tokens, and gossip cards into the tray. The accommodations go below the gossip cards. Okay. Into the tray. Replace the Innkeeper header in the tray. Gossip cards and adventure deck will remain there until they are drawn during play. What? Place the Innkeeper header on the tray. Gossip cards and adventure deck in the adventure deck remain there until they're drawn during play. Okay. Remove the left Innkeeper board. Place the unused skill markers. Finally, place the lid. Okay, cool. So the gossip cards that we have, we just hold on to. I guess we just draw new ones. When would we... Is it the start of light? Dawn? Is that when we draw gossip cards? Do we always have 2? What was it? Mingle. Mingle. Grandeur. Deck. Innkeeper draws number of gossip cards equal to their current renown level. So draw 1, okay. So we not start off with gossip cards? I guess mingling is how you get more potentially. Interesting. Interesting. Doesn't say to hold on to your gossip cards. Return the game box, move the party tokens, gossip cards to the tray. Combinations go below. Placing keeper header tray, gossip cards, and the adventure deck stay there. So unused skills. Place a lid, reserve the components. And then for resetting, it says to gather and keep a miniature, draw a bag from the game box, coins, skills, tray, storage, remove guest tokens, accommodations, party tokens, gossip cards in the tray. and set them aside. Okay. I guess you don't keep. I guess maybe do you always have a hand of 2 when you start? So this is for the setup, right? For the first time. Draw 2. Put your hand. You gotta preserve your hand. There's no way. I think they left that part out. I don't know. Maybe not. So when you run out of gossip cards, is that it? For not improve. Serve. Gossip card is discarded at the end of the day and shuffled back into the gossip card. I guess they just get reshuffled. So I wonder if you pull your typical 2 for setup at the beginning of each day, then you must. Okay, cool. All right, so what it's saying here is your coinage will go here. I have this little dowel piece, so that will go down there as well, and this will mark my current renown level. This will all stay the same. These guys are saying go below, down here, which probably fit better once there's fewer of them. Because right now those are not all going to fit in there very well. Which is why I had them all split up. I had some over here. That goes away. Let's go down here as well. So I had others down here because there wasn't enough room to put them all right there. Boom, boom, boom. No. My bad. Sure. This works great. My lord. Whatever. Then these. Have our stacks here. One. And they all go here. And then these. Stack of 2s. And even these don't quite all fit exactly how they're saying. Which is fine. Because where do I have these guys? I definitely have more of you over here for sure. Definitely. I know why I didn't. There's the only one so far that did not really fit exactly the same, but there we go. There's still a way. All right, so then gossip cards go right there on top. Innkeeper, cover up, all that goodness. And then you'll put your skills. Oh my goodness. Right there. 2 and 2. Level 1 skills. This would have already been returned to your well. Everything else will stay the same. Let's not forget that. There we are. And that is the Innkeeper. Let me pull you forward. There we go. So the Innkeeper. So another puzzle thing where you have, I mean, it's kind of similar to the Farmer in a way, but here you have your patrons dictating kind of the pattern you need to put out, and then you're trying to seat them where you're going to be making money off them. So that's kind of fun. You can rearrange this in, and as you gain renown, you're going to be able to have higher level patrons. You're going to have to rearrange and make your place better to accommodate them, and just kind of rinse and repeat and keep going. Yeah. So I mean, it'll take at least 3 seasons to get your renown all the way up into that 3 area, which means at least 3 different games to get it up there. So that's kind of fun. And I'm sure it'll fluctuate a lot and actually be pretty difficult to really push that renown up too high. To just be that constant evolving puzzle for the Innkeeper. So very cool. The extra stuff that would be added for the expanded horizons seems like a nice little easy add to the base game. So shouldn't be too difficult. Cool. Well, that is the last character that they have right now for Mythwind. They are releasing 2 more, like I said, the Herbalist and the Shepherd at some point. When we get those, we'll definitely throw those in. What's left next for the Rulebook Rundown stuff is going to be a relatively short video for some of these smaller expansion stuffs. And then the last longer one is going to be for the friends and family and how to incorporate that. So definitely tune back in and join me for that. Look out for those videos. They'll all be labeled. But thank you for joining me here at Baldwin Board Games as I gave you the Rulebook Rundown for the Innkeeper. I will see you at the end.